Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Edyta Samborska, for those who don't know me, and I work as Kyndryl SkyTab product manager on a daily basis, and I'm really super excited to welcome you on today's webinar. And today we are going to talk about optimizing hybrid cloud data protection and also migration for IBM Power and x86 workloads. So I hope that you will enjoy this session and you will find it very useful and interesting. One thing from my side, so if you will have any questions, okay, you can leave it on a chat, you can use reaction or Q&A option, but for most of the time you won't be able to use the recording or unmute yourself. So just bear that in mind. The webinar will be recorded and it will be available later on my YouTube channel. So that's the option which we would like to check. So for sure, I will be sharing that recording with you just after this session. And I would like to take the opportunity to also invite you for one more external webinar, which we are planning with the Tech channel. So we are planning it on June 18th. I will put the link into the chat in a second. So if you would like to take part in it, just go to this link and register yourself. I hope I will see you there. And now let me pass the voice to my colleague, to Richard Field, who is Kyndryl SkyTab Business Operations Director. So he's going to tell you a little bit more about Kyndryl SkyTab, and he will also introduce our two speakers. So Richard, over to you.
Thanks, Edyta. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar today. So just by way of introduction, as Edyta said, I manage alliances within SkyTab, within the Kyndryl family now. We have run a number of these sessions, and they've been really successful. And it's very much about educating our customers in what we do with SkyTab. So, just for those really as a bit of a recap, hopefully everybody on the call knows what SkyTab is, but let me just have a little bit of a recap. So SkyTab is a cloud service for IBM Power workloads, particularly. I know we mentioned x86, but we can do that too. But principally IBM Power, so IBM I, AIX, and Power Linux workloads in the public cloud. And we talk to a lot of partners, we talk to a lot of customers, and the first things that everybody says is, can I really do this? Well, the answer is yes. And then they start asking questions about, but how do I do all of the things that I would do on premise? So, how do I manage security? How do I manage replication and high availability? How do I manage backup and so on? So what we've done is we've developed a number of products and pathways, in most cases with partners like Falcon Store, to answer those sorts of questions, because backup is always very high up people's lists, and it's something you need to cater for. So we wanted to present this solution together with Falcon Store, so that it's clearer how we manage some of the backups for IBM Power workloads when you move to the cloud. So with that, I'll hand over to Paul and to Ron from Falcon Store. Please, guys, take it away.
Hey, thank you very much, Richard. Let me start off with the screen that we have in front of you. And we're talking about, well, first, thanks for joining us today. What we're going to do is present to you a solution that you can use today in SkyTab, as well as across Kyndryl. We are Falcon Store, and our product is store safe. And our solution will allow you to, as the header says, optimize hybrid cloud, enjoy data protection, and migration. So what does that mean? Hybrid cloud, our software works everywhere, in SkyTab, on-prem, or wherever you as a customer need to be. We work everywhere. We work on any platform, IBM Power or x86, and we optimize your backup and restore process. As we optimize this backup and restore process, we include data protection through security and data encryption of your data. And then we can also be used to migrate from where you are to where you want to be. And again, name your platform. IBM Power, running on AIX, Linux, IBM I, or if you're on x86, we work, period. So I'm Paul Sinkegrain, and I'm the Director of Sales in the Americas for Falcon Store, and I'm supported today by Ron Morita, our Falcon Store CTO. What we're presenting today is already tried and true. Globally and in the Americas, Falcon Store has many joint customers with Kyndryl and SkyTap. So we're not merely presenting an aspirational concept here, we're showing you something that works and that customers enjoy. We'll review why using Falcon Store StorSafe software can help you to optimize your backup and restore and protect that very data. Again, this protection applies to your data whether it is at rest, in flight, or whether you are migrating from one location to another. Our solution is cost effective, and we will save you from spending extra money on unnecessary storage. And one final note, I want to just be clear. We are not backup software. Instead, we work with your existing backup software and backup processes. We work with it to optimize it and add a layer of data protection. We are well aware that customers face many challenges with their data. Let's walk through how our StorSafe technology helps customers address these challenges. First, all the way on the left, customers face demands on backup and recovery times. What Falcon Store and StorSafe does is we will shrink these windows with our patented deduplication. This deduplication technology, in addition to compressing the raw data, it eliminates duplicate copies of the data. The practical result is that, let's say you're an IBM I customer, we can reduce the IBM I raw backup repositories by at least 20 to 1. That's by at least 95%. For other Power workloads like AIX and Linux, or even for x86, we can reduce these backup repositories by up to 15 to 1, which can be a 93% reduction, which leads to number 2 in this chart, the second column. This reduction in the data that you need to store saves money on overall storage costs. Even after paying for the StorSafe solution, we can reduce customer storage spending by 60%. Number 3, as we move along this chart, customers face requirements to scale effectively. We have customers with 10 terabytes of data up to multiple petabytes of data. All are using the same StorSafe software solution. In other words, we are scalable to meet your needs. And one of the benefits to SkyTap Cloud is that you only pay as you grow. Fourth, customers benefit with offsite storage and disaster recovery. This adds another layer of data protection, and StorSafe will allow you to replicate this data from point A to wherever you want point B to be. And as we move forward to number 5, once you are protecting your data in the SkyTap Cloud, you can take advantage of ways to get immutable backups and storage to have clean data copies that are protected against any cybersecurity or ransomware attacks. And as we move all the way to the right, finally, we know that some customers have regulatory demands. in addition, we are seeing insurance companies require policyholders to prove that they are protecting their data. Prove it by storing that data offsite at a third-party location. And they're requiring this proof before issuing cyber insurance to that company. So we have been faced with this requirement ourselves internally, but our StoreSafe software will help you protect this data, replicate to the cloud, and meet some of these regulatory or compliance needs. Okay, so let's simplify this and add some pictures to show how a customer can move from where you are to, let's say, a SkyTab cloud. And let's start in the bottom left where most customers are, which is on-prem. You have a server, you have some storage, you have a backup process, and our StoreSafe works with that backup process. We're treated as a target as part of that process, and we dedupe and we protect that data. So let's say you're still on-prem, no cloud yet, you're still on-prem. What are the benefits here to adding Falcon Store StoreSafe? First of all, by using Falcon Store StoreSafe, we are deduping, which reduces the amount of data. So this customer will spend less money on a storage repository. It could be tape, it could be disk, whatever they're using. Since there is less data, there is less demand of data going through the network, which should result in the customer enjoying faster backup and restore times. Now, we add a security layer to the data. So the customer enjoys data protection along with improved backup and restore times. And that data protection applies whether the data is at rest or in flight. And looking on the right, you have your backup in the middle, a DR site on the right. StoreSafe can replicate this backed up data to another location for a customer's DR site. So where this DR sits is at the whim of the customer. This could be at the other end of a building. It could be across town, or it could be across country. But we can replicate the data from the production site to a separate DR site. And so far, we aren't in the cloud. We're purely on-prem. So let's now move to the cloud and see how you can use our solution to continue this journey. If you can imagine a DR site across town, then simply flip that concept on its side, put that DR site in the sky, and we're now in the cloud. And you can use SkyTab as this DR site in the cloud. So as long as you have StoreSafe on-prem, say next to your production server, and you put a StoreSafe in the SkyTab environment, these two StoreSafe versions will talk to each other. They can replicate back and forth. You can get an offsite copy of your data to meet these compliance and insurance needs. And you can improve your level of data protection by having this disaster recovery in the SkyTab cloud. This is called a hybrid cloud backup. I got one in the cloud. I got some operations still going on-prem. Now, once you have 1 foot on-prem and 1 foot in the cloud, and you have our StoreSafe software replicating from point A to point B, it is very easy to use that same software as the transport mechanism to move your workloads into the SkyTab cloud. So you've tried out the cloud, you've tried it out for backup, you understand how this works, you're much more comfortable, you start moving workloads into cloud, you start moving some test, some dev. And after you get comfortable with that, you start moving more and more workloads and LPARs into the SkyTab cloud. And our tool can be used as the transport mechanism to migrate those workloads up to SkyTab. And then once you're operating out of the cloud environment, just like you did on-prem, add us there. You now have a backup in the cloud, just like you used to have a backup process on premises. And again, knowing that you need to have, in many instances, a separate location with a backed up copy of your data. You can also add another SkyTab location for a DR site. This entire journey will differ by customer on the time frame and what customers want to start with and do. But in a sense, you can start with our software on-prem and help you get through the journey to using SkyTab Cloud. Now, I just presented a journey that really includes these 5 use cases. So let's summarize and review. Number 1, on-prem. Our StoreSafe software can start with an on-prem environment and optimize the backup, restore, and data protection needs that you have on-prem. But number 2, you can protect your data better, reduce your risk profile more, meet insurance mandates or industry compliance requirements by adding a off-site location. And that's where you can start, instead of having the DR on-prem at one of your properties, have that DR in the SkyTab Cloud and start seeing the benefits of reducing your risk, adding a layer of data protection, and getting a off-site copy of your data. Once you have our software replicating from your on-prem up to the SkyTab Cloud, number 3, the tool is already there, the mechanism is already there for you to start migrating workloads. Start with test workloads and development workloads and move those to the SkyTab Cloud. Again, you will only pay as you have needs to grow. And then once you're fully up in a SkyTab environment, number 4, use our software to optimize your backup, restore, and data protection efforts there. And 5, add a disaster recovery location, which can simply be done by using an additional SkyTab Cloud location. To recap, the key takeaway is FalconStor StoreSafe offers the best tool for backups and cloud migration and data protection. It works with Power. It does work with your x86 on-prem. It works in the SkyTab Cloud. The solution is tried and true, and we already have joint FalconStor SkyTab Kyndryl customers globally. Our StoreSafe solution is appealing because really 3 challenges are addressed in one solution: backup optimization, data protection, and migration. Customers see benefits by savings. One solution that helps customers reduce their overall storage costs while adding security and data protection to reduce the risk of data loss or data being compromised. Customers benefit by our solution being flexible. We're a software-only solution that works with the customer's existing infrastructure. So you know what you know, and you're able to leverage what it is you already have and what you already know. So you don't have to learn a ton of new things by implementing our software. Customers also benefit because we are complementary and scalable. Again, we work with your familiar existing environment and we scale as you grow. Finally, customers benefit by having freedom. For those customers that don't know what to do with their existing tape libraries and all that archived data, or they don't know what to do with their legacy backup devices and that archived data, our StoreSafe software can serve as the gateway to ingest from those appliances or those tape libraries and migrate those archives to SkyTab Cloud or storage. So how can you see what the software is doing? From a user's perspective, the StoreSafe software license is managed through our StoreSite management console. We refer to it as a central orchestration layer, but in layman's terms, you would manage your StoreSafe servers and licenses through this one console. So, for example, we have customers with our software deployed in 3 different locations. These customers can manage all 3 environments through this one console. And furthermore, we have MSPs with dozens of customers who themselves can manage multiple customers and environments from one console. So I just want to drive home the ease of management through our StoreSite management console. All right, so Falcon Store is tried and true and successful. The StoreSafe solution helps customers improve backup performance, save money, protect their data, and migrate workloads. The solution is flexible with your existing backup environment and works with your existing server platform, Power, x86 applications. So what's next? Contact your SkyTab client partner to learn more. And what is it that you would like to learn from this client partner? Well, for example, do you want to improve your backup and restore performance? If so, Falcon Store can optimize and SkyTab can help. Are you seeking better data protection solutions? Again, our StoreSafe software will encrypt your data and protect you from bad actors and malware, and this is supported in SkyTab's environment. Or are you wondering how to modernize from an on-tape environment that has tape or an appliance? Well, you can use StoreSafe to migrate this data up to the SkyTab Cloud. Migration, modernization, optimization, and data protection. Again, follow up with your SkyTab client partner. We at Falcon Store are available to assist you and the SkyTab team with assessing your current environment and recommending a future state design. Thank you for spending your time with us. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to the Kyndryl SkyTab team.
Thanks, Paul. Really appreciate that. That's really good. So I think there's 1 or 2 questions in the chat that have been posted. Obviously, if you have any questions, please do keep them coming. But Ron, is there anything that you want to add to that at this point, or is there anything more you'd like to say?
I think Paul did a great job of really showing how this solution is mature and baked in and is solving customers' problems. I think that's probably the first point, that this is very real and not theoretical. And I think the other points are that we can actually save cost even after the purchase of the license. So there's a net savings because of the storage costs, and the performance optimization is really key. Being able to because we actually store less data, we're able to acknowledge writes to the backup app immediately, and so the storage is no longer the constraint on the backup performance. So I think those are probably some of the key benefits. The fact that we can work in a hybrid cloud solution or even a multi-cloud solution where you may have multiple SkyTap data centers, and being able to replicate between data centers for DR purposes or even for test dev purposes. So the capabilities are even go beyond the backup and DR data protection, but because we're able to replicate information between sites in a deduplicated fashion, we can save time and money and network bandwidth in doing the transfer. So that really does create a frictionless hybrid cloud or multi-cloud multi-data center solution. So I think those are some of the core capabilities that we offer.
Yeah, I think that's really good, Ron. Thank you. I appreciate it. So what we see as the use cases for this, and it was sort of touched upon within what Paul and Ron have presented, is of course some customers will move their workloads into SkyTap, and that could be production or it could be just disaster recovery, and they're using backup between an on-premise virtual tape library and a virtualized virtual tape library in SkyTap to do that replication, or to use it for the migration into cloud for sure, or obviously they're doing it within. What's really key is that compression, deduplication, encryption, all the things that are built into the Falcon Store product make some of those things very, very easy. And once that data is in there, then it's easy to replicate it from place to place, whether that's within SkyTap or multi-cloud, as you say. Now, in terms of the deployment of the Falcon Store products, and again, Paul did touch upon this, and this can be deployed as virtual machines within SkyTap. There are a combination of parts that are required. There's the backup solution, and then there's a user interface, and that can all be deployed within SkyTap, so it doesn't need to go outside of the SkyTap cloud, which makes it very, very flexible to deploy that. And we've obviously tested that within our platform. The other thing I would say, which and again, really just picking up on something that Paul said right at the beginning, is that Falcon Store is not a backup software. So particularly for IBM customers who are listening to this, what's the takeaway from this is that you can continue to use your same backup solution. So native IBM commands, backup recovery media services, BRMS, to back up to Falcon Store as if it were a tape device in exactly the same way that you would on premise. I think that's a really key point, is we want to change the minimum amount of things as customers move to cloud in terms of their processes and procedures. I think that's probably fair to say, Paul, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So as you said, Adita's opened up the Q&A. If people have got any questions or comments, please keep it nice. But if you've got any questions, do please throw them in the chat, or put your hand up, and we'll make sure that we answer those. If you have anything which is as a follow-up later, then there are some contact details on the screen here. Please feel free to reach out to SkyTap, to Kyndryl, to Falcon Store, or our team, and we'd be happy to help. But please do keep the questions coming in. We'll keep an eye on that. Aditya, shall we go back to you?
Yes, I think so. We still have some time, so if you have any questions, don't be shy. Just use the chat option and drop it there. Just to remind you guys, we are planning one more external webinar with the Tech Channel, and this is planned for June, 18th of June. So I hope that you can go to the chat. There is a link which I posted. So if you would like to take part in it, just register yourself and we'll meet again in June. Other than that, I'm still waiting for your questions, so we are more than happy to answer it. And let's see if we'll have any. Okay, do we have client references which we can use? Thank you for that. Do we?
Yeah, this is Paul. So we have joint clients. I would have to defer to the SkyTap teams on whether we have joint customers that have authorized being public and using our name and recommending the solution. Sometimes we have, that's a challenge to get people to agree to that publicly. So I'd have to defer to the SkyTap team on whether there are customers that are open to sharing themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just pick up on that. We've got quite a number of customers using this solution. I haven't counted up how many, but it's sort of our de facto standard for IBM backup particularly. So we have got a number of customers. One of the challenges is that all customers want a reference, but not many customers want to be a reference. So that does become a challenge. But we have, and we can have a look at that if that's important. But what I would say is we've tested this. We've got a good number of customers, and I don't mean 5 or 6. I mean 20s, 30s plus who are using. So it is well tried and tested, and it's well known. And SkyTap has been around for a while, as does Falcon Store. So it's not entirely new. But yeah, if that's critical, then sure, we can probably find something.
All right, thank you so much for answering the question, and we still have some time, so if you have any other question, just drop it on the chat. Unless I will give you back 25 minutes, but let's see, maybe we'll have one more.
They're a very quiet crowd today, Aditya, aren't they?
Just a little bit. All right, so if you don't have any further questions, that's fine. I will give you 25 minutes back. I would like to thank you so much, Richard, Paul, and Ron, for conducting this webinar for us. And of course, I would like to thank the participants for joining us today. As mentioned, the recording will be available later on YouTube. And please don't forget to register for our external webinar, which we are planning in June. I can see one more question in the chat, so we'll come back to that in a second.